The brain is the control center of our lives, guiding every decision, memory, and emotion. Yet, most people rarely think about how to keep it healthy. In today's story, you will not only practice English listening, but also discover simple and powerful habits to protect and strengthen your brain every day. David was 30 years old, working as an office employee in a busy technology company. At first glance, his life looked normal. He had a stable job, a decent salary, and a routine that many people considered safe. But beneath the surface, David was struggling with something that worried him every single day. His brain no longer felt sharp. The long hours in front of the computer left him drained. He often skipped exercise because he was too tired. Meals were quick and convenient. Fast food, instant noodles, and coffee to keep him awake. At night, instead of resting, David spent hours scrolling through his phone or watching videos, trying to escape from the stress of his day. Soon, he began to notice small but disturbing changes. He would forget where he put his keys, miss simple details during meetings, or struggle to recall names of colleagues he had just met. At first, he laughed it off as normal stress. But gradually, the forgetfulness became more frequent, and his concentration at work dropped. Sometimes, he would read the same email 3 times before understanding it. This decline worried him. How could someone still, so young, feel like his brain was slowing down? He compared himself to his younger self in college, a time when he could memorize information quickly, focus for hours, and learn new skills with excitement. Now, even simple tasks felt like climbing a mountain. Deep inside, David knew that his lifestyle was the problem. The lack of exercise, poor diet, irregular sleep, and endless screen time were taking a toll on his brain. Yet, like many people, he told himself he was too busy to make a change. David's story is not unique. Millions of people around the world, especially young adults balancing work, study, and personal life, experience the same struggle. We often believe brain decline is only for older people, but the truth is that unhealthy habits in our 20s and 30s can already weaken memory, focus, and mental clarity. David's situation sets the stage for a powerful journey, a reminder that brain health is not something to think about later, but something we must protect today. One Monday morning, David was supposed to attend a critical meeting with his team and a potential client. He had received the email reminder and even set a calendar notification. Yet, when the time came, he completely forgot. Instead of being in the conference room, he was still at his desk, distracted by emails and small tasks. By the time a colleague rushed in to ask where he was, the meeting had already ended. The client was disappointed, and his manager was visibly upset. That evening, David couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. It wasn't just an embarrassing mistake. It was a sign that his memory and focus were failing him. He began to worry. Was something seriously wrong with his brain? Was he too young to be experiencing this kind of decline? Anxiety filled his thoughts as he realized how much he depended on his mental clarity, not only for work, but also for his entire future. A few days later, David unexpectedly ran into an old friend, Dr. James, who had become a neurologist. Over coffee, David shared his concerns about his constant stress, sleepless nights, and now the forgotten meeting. Dr. James listened carefully and then said something that struck David deeply. Your brain is like your body. If you don't train it, nourish it, and give it proper rest, it will weaken. Just like muscles shrink without exercise, the brain also declines without care. Those words echoed in David's mind. He realized he had been treating his brain as if it could handle endless pressure without support. He had ignored sleep, skipped exercise, eaten poorly, and overstimulated his mind with screens. Now, he was paying the price. For the first time, David truly saw the connection between his lifestyle and his brain health. The forgotten meeting was not just a small accident. It was a wake-up call. He didn't want to continue down a path where his focus, memory, and creativity would keep fading. He wanted to feel sharp, energized, and confident again. That day marked the turning point. David decided he could no longer take his brain for granted. If he wanted to perform well at work, enjoy life fully, and protect his future, he needed to start caring for his brain, seriously, and consistently. David knew change would not be easy, but he was determined to rebuild his habits. He started with small, consistent steps rather than drastic changes, because he understood that the brain thrives on steady routines. The first thing he focused on was exercise. Every morning, instead of rushing straight to his laptop, David went for a brisk 30-minute walk around his neighborhood. At first, it felt like a chore, but soon he began to notice subtle shifts. His mood improved, his stress levels dropped, and he felt more awake. Dr. James had explained that exercise increases blood flow to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients that boost memory and focus. David realized this was true. On days he exercised, he felt sharper and more productive. Next, he turned his attention to nutrition. David had been relying on fast food, sugary snacks, and endless cups of coffee to get through the day. Now, he made a conscious effort to prepare meals rich in brain-boosting foods. He added salmon, walnuts, blueberries, and leafy greens to his diet. At lunch, instead of greasy burgers, he chose salads with healthy fats and proteins. Slowly, he noticed he had fewer energy crashes, and his concentration lasted longer throughout the day. His brain seemed to thank him for every healthy choice. Sleep was another battle. For years, David had stayed up late scrolling on his phone or catching up on unfinished work. But he decided to set a strict rule: no screens 1 hour before bed. He replaced late-night browsing with reading a physical book. At first, it was difficult. He craved the blue light of his phone. Yet after 2 weeks, his sleep became deeper, and he woke up feeling refreshed instead of groggy. The quality of his thoughts during the day improved noticeably. David also embraced lifelong learning. He signed up for an online Spanish class and began practicing a few words each night. He dusted off books he had long wanted to read, and he even revisited an old hobby, playing the guitar. These new challenges weren't just fun. They exercised his brain like a workout for memory and creativity. He felt proud whenever he mastered something new. Finally, David tackled mindfulness and stress management. He began with just 5 minutes of deep breathing in the morning. Over time, he expanded to guided meditation sessions and kept a daily journal where he reflected on his thoughts. This practice calmed his racing mind and helped him manage work pressure. Instead of reacting with panic, he learned to pause, breathe, and refocus. The results were undeniable. Within a few months, David felt like a new person. His focus sharpened, his memory improved, and he had more energy throughout the day. Coworkers noticed he was more engaged and reliable. Most importantly, David felt hopeful again. He realized brain health wasn't about quick fixes, but about consistent care, just like nurturing a garden. Looking back on his journey, David realized that every change he made had taught him something essential about how the brain works. These lessons became guiding principles not only for his health, but also for his life. The first lesson was clear: healthy habits shape the brain. At the beginning, David used to believe that his memory lapses and lack of focus were simply signs of aging or stress. But as he started exercising, eating better, and sleeping regularly, he saw how dramatically his mental performance improved. It wasn't luck or natural talent. It was the result of daily choices. Every walk, every healthy meal, every consistent bedtime acted like a small investment in his brain's future. Another important insight was that food is fuel for the mind. Before, he thought of meals only as a way to satisfy hunger quickly. Now, he saw them as opportunities to nourish his brain. When he chose salmon instead of fried chicken or grabbed a handful of walnuts instead of chips, he noticed he could think more clearly and sustain his energy throughout the day. Food was not just calories. It was information for the brain. The right nutrients sharpened his focus, while junk food left him sluggish and distracted. David also learned that rest is productive. For years, he had treated sleep as optional, something to sacrifice whenever deadlines piled up. But once he committed to quality rest, he discovered that his brain worked better with fewer hours of forced effort and more hours of true recovery. A well-rested brain could solve problems faster, recall information more easily, and stay calm under pressure. Sleep, he realized, was not wasted time. It was the foundation of productivity. The fourth lesson was that the brain loves challenges. Each time he tried something new, learning Spanish, playing guitar, or tackling a new project at work, he felt his brain become more alive. He understood that novelty stimulates growth. Just like muscles need resistance to get stronger, The brain needs challenges to stay sharp. Growth didn't come from staying comfortable, but from stepping into the unknown. Finally, David learned that stress is poison and balance is medicine. He couldn't avoid all stress, but he could choose how to respond. Through meditation and journaling, he gave his mind space to recover. Instead of letting anxiety control him, he learned to breathe, pause, and regain clarity. With balance, he discovered a sense of calm energy that allowed him to handle life's demands without burning out. These lessons transformed David's outlook. He realized that brain health is not something that happens by chance. It is something we create every day through our habits, our food, our rest, our challenges, and the way we handle stress. David's story is not just about one man's transformation. It reflects a much larger reality in our modern world. Today, millions of people, especially young adults, are unknowingly sacrificing their brain health for the sake of long working hours, endless scrolling on social media, poor diets, and sleepless nights. While these habits might feel harmless in the moment, they accumulate over time and silently weaken the brain. Science has already shown us the consequences. A landmark study from Harvard University found that regular physical exercise can reduce the risk of cognitive decline by nearly 30%. Movement keeps blood flowing to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients essential for memory and focus. Yet, many of us still spend entire days sitting, rarely moving beyond the office chair or the couch. Another powerful insight comes from Stanford research, which revealed that quality sleep significantly improves both creativity and long-term memory. When you sleep, the brain consolidates knowledge, repairs itself, and even clears out harmful toxins. Cutting sleep short doesn't just make you tired. It literally robs your brain of the chance to function at its best. Unfortunately, in our 24/7 culture, sleep is often treated as optional, and hustle is seen as more important than recovery. Nutrition is another overlooked piece of the puzzle. Fast food, energy drinks, and processed snacks might be convenient, but they starve the brain of the nutrients it needs. Studies consistently show that people who consume omega-3 fatty acids, leafy greens, and antioxidant-rich foods maintain sharper cognition as they age. What we put on our plates today shapes how clearly we think tomorrow. Equally important is how we manage stress. Chronic stress floods the brain with cortisol, a hormone that, in high levels, damages memory and reduces emotional balance. Without strategies like mindfulness, journaling, or deep breathing, stress becomes toxic fuel that wears the brain down year after year. The truth is, your brain is always adapting. Every decision, whether to exercise or skip it, to rest or push through exhaustion, to learn something new or stay in routine, is shaping its future performance. And the choices you make today are investments that will either protect or weaken your mental abilities in the years ahead. So the real question is this: 10 years from now, what kind of brain do you want? Do you want a sharp, creative, and resilient mind, fueled by good habits? Or will you look back and realize that years of neglect have left your memory fading, your focus scattered, and your energy drained? The answer lies in the small decisions you make daily. Brain health is not a mystery. It is a practice. Just as David discovered, caring for the brain requires effort, but the reward is a lifetime of clarity, confidence, and vitality. A healthy brain is the foundation of everything we do: learning, working, creating, and even enjoying the simplest moments of life. Without clarity, focus, and memory, success in any area becomes much harder to achieve. David's journey reminds us that brain health is not a luxury. It is a daily necessity. The good news is that caring for your brain does not require massive, overwhelming changes. It begins with small, simple steps. Take a 20-minute walk to boost blood flow and energy. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep to allow your brain to repair and recharge. Choose brain-friendly foods like fish, nuts, and leafy greens instead of processed snacks. And challenge your mind. Read a book, learn a new skill, or practice a new language. Every small action is like a deposit into your brain's health account, and the more you invest, the richer the rewards will be. This week, I encourage you to choose just one habit to change. Write it down. Maybe you'll commit to turning off your phone 30 minutes before bed, or to cooking a healthier meal twice a week, or to practicing mindfulness for 5 minutes each morning. Whatever you choose, make it realistic, consistent, and meaningful. Over time, these small steps add up to powerful transformation. Remember, your brain is your greatest asset. It is the engine that drives your goals, your dreams, and your everyday happiness. Protect it, train it, and it will serve you faithfully for a lifetime. The choice is always in your hands. Your brain is your greatest asset. Protect it, train it, and it will serve you for a lifetime.